Hello, I am Tammy Marshall, and today I just wanted to visit with you a little bit about an important creed of which I live my life, and I think that others should do this more. I think that most people do it. They maybe just don't purposely think about it and plan it. And that belief of mine, that motto really, is you make time for what matters to you. So often, I'll hear people saying they want to do something, but they don't have time. They don't have time to read, for example. I was recently at an event, and there were many people walking by, and I was selling books and promoting literature and reading and writing. And about 90% of the time, when I would ask somebody, are you a reader? Well, enough of them said no right away, but many of them said, I don't have time. And every time I hear somebody say they don't have time, I just know that means that the activity for which they don't have time doesn't really matter to them. I mean, if it truly mattered, you make the time. You think about all the things that you do every single day that you make time for it. And sometimes it isn't anything you necessarily really enjoy, but perhaps it's part of your job. And so you have to do the thing because your job matters, getting a paycheck matters, being able to keep a roof over your head matters. So you do these things because they matter, and you make the time. You find the time, you make the time, you give up other things so that you can do that thing. I think back to when I was teaching. Sometimes when I tell people all the things that I did as a teacher, they can't even believe that I managed so many things. Many teachers would completely relate to my life, but then there are other teachers who can't relate to it because they didn't teach in a small town. And when you're a small town teacher, you wear lots of hats. I had 7 different classes every single day. In fact, there were times I had 8 and even 9 because I would have like a Spanish 3 and 4 class combined. So I'd have to plan things for my Spanish 3 students and things for my Spanish 4 students. Sometimes I would have an independent study kid in the middle of another class. So I would actually have to plan things for that independent study kid. So I had a very full load. Again, all different preps. These weren't like Spanish 1. There were different years where Spanish 1 was repeated, but as the years went by and we had fewer and fewer students, I only had one Spanish 1 class, one Spanish 2 class, a speech class, English 8 class, an English 11 class, etc. So I had taught a variety of things every single day. On top of that, I raised 2 kids. And of course, I always made time for them, but there were times that they got dragged along to some things that I had to do. I was a speech coach for a long time, so I had speech practice. I had weekend speech meets, all days on Saturdays. I coached the one act, so that was a lot of evenings, coaching and practicing, and then, times we'd have to go to the actual competitions. I directed the school plays. So once again, lots of evening practices, giving up hours for those. I was flag corps coach. I was National Honor Society advisor. I helped once upon a time with some cheerleading. I did a lot of different things that you have to find the time for that. And then, of course, once my children got older, I would attend all of my son's football games, all of his track meets, all of his basketball games. He was also fortunately involved in the things I did, but I would go watch him, with marching band. Same with my daughter. I would attend all of her events. So you find time, and of course your children matter to you. So if there's something going on for them, you find a way to fit it in. And sometimes you look back on those days and you just go, I don't even know how I did it all. It was exhausting is what it was. But of course, having a job mattered. Raising my children correctly mattered. So you make time for what matters. And when you have a dream, you have a goal, you have a passion that perhaps you're not nurturing because you say you don't have the time, you need to ask, is this really my passion? Is this really something that I want to be doing? And if it is, then you need to say to yourself, if this matters to me, I will make the time. I will find the time. There's this great saying by Confucius: it does not matter how slowly you go as long as you do not stop. So sometimes I think people feel like if they can't devote a lot of time to something every single day or once a week, even if they just can't devote a lot of time to it, then, well, I don't have the time, so I'm not going to do it. But I say that if you can make that time every single day, even if it's just 15 minutes, to do something for your passion that will help propel that forward. If nothing else, it's very, nurturing to your soul. If you are, a quilter, you maybe take 15 minutes to cut out some pieces for your next quilt. Maybe your day is extremely busy, but quilting is the thing that matters to you. It's the thing that you're passionate about. So you find that little bit of time and you get those pieces cut out. And then the next day you find some time to do something else for that. And you do that little by little by little. And the next thing you know, you've got this gorgeous quilt. And this can be applied to anything. I do it with writing, of course, because that's my passion. That's my thing. And yes, it was extremely difficult when I was so swamped with teaching for me to find that time. And I'll be the first to admit that there were often months that would go by that I didn't write, and it would eat at me because it was the thing that was my passion. It was the thing that mattered to me. And but the only thing that I was doing to kind of bring comfort to that is, write every night just a couple sentences about my day. At least I was writing something that was for me, that was personal. But slowly and slowly over time, when I really look back and I'm honest with myself, I did accomplish a lot of writing while I was very, very busy teaching. Because I was making that time. Sometimes it certainly wasn't every day, but I was still making that time. And once I was getting closer to the end of the time in which I wanted to teach, I was making more and more of it because I could kind of like see that finish line of teaching where I was hopefully going to be able to leave it and go into writing full time. And when I left teaching, so many people ask me, how's retirement? Well, yes, I'm retired from teaching, but I don't sit around doing nothing all day, which I realize that's not what people who are retired do. You talk to people who are retired, their days are full of finally doing the things that they enjoy. But sometimes, you find those retired people who just feel like they don't really know what to do with themselves because their job was their life. So I am now in my, let's say, second career. So you find that time. And so every day, every single day, I am doing something for my writing. Some days I'm doing a lot. And some days I'm not. Some days I'm finding that 15 minutes to devote to a task for my writing. But it's that way of nurturing it. Same with watercolor painting. I picked up that a couple years ago, and I found that I love it. I really, really love it. And so every now and then, once again, I have to find that time. I have to make that time to really be able to sit down and do a full painting. It's easy for me to, paint a bookmark real quickly and have that joy of that painting. But to constantly say that you don't have time isn't fair to you, okay? Because we all know that when emergencies come up, when a friend in need or a family member in need calls you, you are able to give them that time. So you need to do the same for yourself. You need to give yourself that time. You need to make that time. You need to say to yourself, what matters to me? What truly matters to me? What is my passion? What feeds my soul? What gives me purpose in life? And you need to make that time. We make time for what matters because time is finite and we never know when ours will be over. We only have so many minutes in a day, so many hours in a week. that we have to stretch in a sense to fit in all of our responsibilities, but we also absolutely need to find those moments, okay, that we can make for ourselves. When it comes right down to it, okay, you are the only person who can do this for yourself. Okay? So you need to take a good hard look at your life to bring great joy and peace to your life. Take a good hard look at it and ask yourself, am I making time for what matters to me? And if you're not, I want you to start. I hope you will. If it's just a few minutes a day until you can build things up, but it really will make your life less stressful. You will feel, again, more joy, more peace, more contentment, and I think that you'll be happy. Just remember, we make time for what matters to us. So what matters to you?